Assalamualaikum and have a good day everyone. I hope everyone is in good condition. So in this video we will learn chapter 9 ecosystem. Okay, this is part 1 of subtopic 9.1 community and ecosystem. I have prepared 2 videos for this subtopic. Okay, look at to the picture ecosystem of a savanna. Okay, there's a lot of animal, okay, and plant, and also we can see the river, okay, the grass, okay, animal. So this is ecosystem. What is ecosystem? So organisms do not just interact with each other, but they also interact with non-living things to create a balanced system known as ecosystem. So ecosystem consists of interaction between the organism, living organism, and non-living things, okay, to create the ecosystem. So the study involved to study about the ecosystem is ecology. Okay. Okay, there are lots of terms used in the ecosystem. First is habitat. Habitat is the natural surrounding or the living place of an organism. Okay, the second one, the term of species. A species is a group of similar organisms able to interbreed and produce offspring. So this is the species of clownfish. Okay, and then a population. Okay, look at to the picture. There is more than one clownfish, so it will create a population. Population is a group of organisms of the same species which live in the same habitat. Okay, next. There's a more than type of fish in this picture, so it will create a community. A community is the population of all organisms from different species living in the same habitat while interacting with each other. And then it will create an ecosystem. Ecosystem is a few community that live together in a habitat and interact with each other, including non-living component, which is abiotic, such as water, air, and soil. So in this picture is the marine ecosystem. It involves the living organisms such as fish, okay, and the coral, okay, and the turtle interact with the water in the marine ecosystem. Okay, and then another terms used in the ecosystem is a niche. A niche is the role of an organism in an ecosystem, which includes its behavior and interaction with biotic and abiotic component in the surrounding of its habitat. So the niche is divided into 2 types. First type is ecological niche, the role of a species and its surroundings, and the second part is species niche, the way in which a species interact with biotic and abiotic components within its surrounding. Okay, so this is the example of niche. The niche of the earthworm is to feed on the dead decaying substance in the soil by breaking them through the decomposition. So the role of the earthworm is to feed on the dead decaying substances and breaking them to the simple molecule. And the niche of the grass is to carry out photosynthesis and maintain the balance of ecosystem. So the niche of the grass as a producer to carry out photosynthesis and maintain the balance of oxygen. Alright. So let's discuss about the component in to form the ecosystem, which are biotic and abiotic component. So an ecosystem consists of two main components, which are biotic and abiotic component. Biotic component refer to all organisms in an ecosystem which interact with other organism. Biotic means living organism. Abiotic component are all the non-living elements, including their physical and chemical characteristics that can affect an organism in an ecosystem. So ecosystem there are two component biotic. So in the biotic component there are producer, consumer and decomposer. While the abiotic component consists of pH, temperature, light intensity, topography, microclimate and air humidity. So let's discuss detail more about the abiotic component. Okay, the first abiotic component is pH value. pH value of the soil strongly influence the distribution of living organisms in an habitat. Most organisms are capable of living adequately in an ecosystem which the pH value either neutral or almost neutral. Soil is a habitat for 100 million of worms and microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi and protozoa. So pH value refer to the acidic or alkaline or neutral condition of the soil. So, but most of the organisms are prefer in neutral and almost neutral. So, a little change in pH disrupt the activity of microorganisms that live in the soil and reduce its fertility. Temperature. Okay. Temperature, surrounding temperature affect the physiological activity of plants and animals. A little change in temperature causes a reduction in metabolic rate of organism, as all the enzymes that catalyze physiological responses are sensitive toward the temperature changes. As we learn during Form 4, okay, the enzyme affect the enzyme are affected by the temperature. Okay, so more than the optimal temperature, the enzyme will denature. But although most organisms can live within the temperature range of 20 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius, but there are also organisms can live in extreme temperature, such as polar bear. Okay, can live in temperature below 0 degrees Celsius, which is negative 14 degrees Celsius. While the foxes can live in the desert, where the temperature can reach up to 45 degrees Celsius during the day. Light intensity. Light intensity and duration of sunlight received by a certain region can strongly influence the distribution of organisms, especially for the plant, because the plant carry out photosynthesis depend to the light intensity. So the taller plant in the tropical rainforest that are exposed to high light intensity from a canopy, providing low light intensity underneath. So we can see the structure of taller plant. Okay, we form canopy in the tropical rainforest. So the plant underneath receive low light intensity. Only small plants such as fern can grow under the canopy. But in coniferous forests in the region with temperature climate have lower density of plant due to the low light intensity. So look at the picture. This is coniferous forest. Okay, have lower density of plant due to the low light intensity. Plant in coniferous forest are shorter as well as smaller in size. Okay, the next abiotic component, which is topography. Topography is the physical characteristic on the surface of the earth. It includes the altitude, gradient and aspect. Okay, topography determine the humidity, temperature and light intensity and ecosystem. So in Malay, we call topography is bentuk muka bumi. So for topography, altitude, which is ketinggian. The higher the altitude, the lower the relative humidity, atmospheric pressure and oxygen content. Okay, semakin tinggi sesuatu tempat, semakin kurang dia punya kelembapan, okay, tekanan udara dan oksigen. Plant at different of altitude are different in type, size and density. Okay, for example, pine tree that grow at higher altitude are smaller size compared to meranti tree, which can be found in the tropical rainforest. Yeah, look at the picture. This is meranti tree. Okay, is much higher than the pine tree. Grow at the higher altitude. Topography. The second factor is gradient. Kecerunan. So the steeper mountain slope are easily eroded due to the swift water movement. So the soil layer become thinner and drier. This area are less growth of plant except for some short and thorny shrub which small and pointed leaf. Okay, look at the picture. This is the structure of topography. The steeper mountain. Okay, dekat cerun bukit. Okay, so less plant, less growth of plant except some short and thorny shrub. Okay, tak banyak pokok yang boleh hidup di kecerunan yang gini. Okay, the next is aspect. Okay, aspect refer to the direction in which wind blows and the ray of sunlight. Okay, keadaan di mana arah angin dan arah cahaya matahari. A mountain slope which face to the sea has denser plant compared to the facing toward the land. Okay, and the slope also gain more rainfall distribution. Okay, bahagian bukit yang menghadap sungai lebih padat tumbuh-tumbuhan berbanding daripada bahagian di darat. The slope that receive more sunlight is denser than plant. Microclimate. Microclimate refer to the climate condition of a small area which is different from the surrounding area. Okay, the example, okay, can take place under the rock or beneath the shade of bigger plant of the forest canopy. Okay, to the picture. So this is the animal, the microclimate of the under the rock is different from the surrounding area, and also beneath the shade of bigger plant in the forest canopy. Okay, the climate are different. Microclimate depends on temperature, humidity, light intensity, heat balance, atmospheric pressure, water evaporation, and ability of the soil to retain water around an area in order to maintain humidity. Air humidity. Air humidity is the quantity of water vapor in the air which affect the distribution of organisms in a habitat. There are more organisms occupying area of high humidity than in dry areas. Low air humidity increases water loss in a stoma through transpiration. This situation enhances the absorption of water and mineral salt from the soil. Transpiration also provides a cooling effect. Therefore, plants can maintain optimum temperature for the enzyme action. So for the plant, okay, plant there are more organisms occupying area of high humidity. Jadi lebih banyak organism pada tempat yang kelembapan udara yang tinggi pada kelembapan udara yang rendah. Dry area. So bila kelembapan udara rendah, dia akan meningkatkan kehilangan air melalui stoma. So dia akan menyebabkan lebih banyak air diserap di dalam melalui akar daripada tanah. The picture show the rhinoceros as a big body, and as a consequence the ratio of total surface area per volume ratio is small. Therefore the rate of heat release from the skin is low. So during hot day, the rhinoceros often wallow in the muddy area. So when the mud dries up, it forms a layer which protects the skin of the rhinoceros from the heat of the sun. So the rhinoceros have an affinity towards humidity. Okay, so let's discuss about the nutrition and how the organism obtain their nutrient. So the nutrition is a way for organism to obtain nutrient and energy from the food. So there are two types of nutrition, which are autotrophic and heterotrophic. So in the autotrophic, there are two types of autotrophic, which first part is photoautotrophic and second one is chemoautotrophic. The heterotrophic is divided into three: saprotrophic, holozoic and parasitic. So photoautotrophic refer to organism that can synthesize complex organic compound from carbon dioxide together with light energy. So photo means light energy. So an autotrophic is referred to can synthesize their food by its own self. So photoautotroph synthesize their own food via the process of photosynthesis, such as green plant. Chemoautotroph include a few types of bacteria which synthesize organic compound without using light. So they will use the chemical energy. So it involves the oxidation of inorganic substances such as hydrogen sulfide and ammonia through the process of chemosynthesis, such as the bacteria and nitrobacter. For the heterotrophic, there are three types. First type is saprotrophic. Saprotroph are the saprophytic organism which gain their nutrient from dead and decaying organic substances. And then the digestion occurs outside of the body of an organism before the nutrients are absorbed into its body, such as mushroom. Holozoic is the organism that survive by eating solid organic substances, which are then digested and absorbed into the body. So most animals, including human being, are holozoic. Holozoic means makan haiwan lain untuk dapatkan tenaga dan nutrient. This is an example of holozoic. Parasites are organisms that absorb nutrient from the host. For example, flea and tapeworm get nutrient from the human host. So parasite absorb nutrient from the host. And the living organism is differ from the saprophytic. They absorb from dead and decaying substances. But for parasitic, absorb nutrient from the living host. Let's discuss about the biotic component. We have discussed about the abiotic. So this is biotic component according to the trophic level. Biotic means living organism. So biotic component are the organism that need energy to carry out life processes. So human and animal gain energy by feeding on the other organism, including photosynthetic plants. The main source of the energy for all organisms came from the sun. there are three groups in biotic component, which consists of producer, consumer and decomposer. Okay, producer, green plant, all the consumer and the decomposer. Okay, producer is autotroph synthesize organic substances from inorganic substances. So as you know, producer is green plant, so it will absorb light energy to carry out photosynthesis and produce energy. So producer consists of green plant and synthesize glucose from the water and carbon dioxide which have energy from the sunlight. So, and then the primary consumer is the herbivore. Herbivore means eat the green plant. Herbivore which gain energy by feeding on producer. Primary consumer must be herbivore. And after that, secondary consumer. Secondary consumer might be a carnivores, okay, which feed on the primary consumer, such as the birds eat the caterpillar. Okay, so carnivore which feed on the primary consumer, or omnivore which feed on the primary consumer and producer. Okay, and tertiary consumer is the carnivore. Carnivore which feed on the secondary consumer. Okay, and last one is the decomposer. It refer to the microorganism decompose waste substance as well as dead and decaying organism into the simpler organic substances such as carbon dioxide and ammonia. So the bacteria and the fungi is the example of decomposer. So let's discuss about the energy flow in the food chain. Organisms in an ecosystem interact in each other in the form of a feeding relationship, which can be shown in a food chain. A food chain is the sequence of energy transfer from one trophic level to another trophic level, beginning with the producer. So in the food chain, it starts with the producer and end with either secondary consumer or a tertiary consumer. So this is the example of food chain. And we start from the producer and we're ending with the secondary consumer or tertiary consumer. Organism fed on organism from previous trophic level. Means primary consumer we eat producer. Secondary consumer we eat the primary consumer. Energy is transferred from the consumed organism to the feeding organism. So during the feeding process, energy are transferred. Energy is transferred between the trophic level when an organism eats other organism, which is gain energy. So this energy transferred to the organism after it has digested and assimilated the food to form new substances in the body. So producer at the first trophic level, primary consumer at the second trophic level, secondary consumer at the third trophic level, and the tertiary consumer at the fourth trophic level. Okay, this is food web. However, in the natural condition, most of the animals feed on more than one type of organism. For example, birds eat caterpillar as well as grasshopper and paddy. Okay, thus the bird form a new food chain and occupy different trophic level. A bird can be replaced at the second trophic level as a primary consumer by feeding on paddy. However, the same birds can also exist in the third trophic level as a secondary consumer when feeding on grasshopper. So there are circumstances that result in several food chains that to be interconnected to form a food web. It shows the feeding relationship in the community and consists of several food chains. So this is the example of food web. Okay, it's consists of more than one food chain. For example, first food chain. Okay, mouse eat the plant or eat the mouse. Okay, and it can be also snake eat the mouse eat the plant. Okay, Okay, and another food chain is, okay, lion eat the wild cat eat the mouse eat the plant. Okay, lion also eat wild cat eat the rabbit eat the plant. So combination of interconnected food chain we form food web. Okay, organism in all food chain rely on each other in feeding aspect. It starts with the photosynthetic producer, which is plant, convert light energy from the sun into the chemical energy in the form of food stored in the organs such as roots, fruit, stem or leaf. Okay, we discuss more about the ecological pyramid. Okay, a food chain and food web show the feeding relationship among organisms. Energy transfer occur when an organism feeds on other organisms. In a feeding interaction, when a trophic level increases, the number of individual biomass and total energy contained in each individual for each trophic level will change. So this factor can be described in the form of ecological pyramid, which consists of pyramid number, pyramid of biomass, pyramid of energy. So this is pyramid number, pyramid of biomass and pyramid of energy. Okay, so in the pyramid we can show we can observe the size of organism and the number of organism. In the pyramid number, the number of organism decrease, the size of organism increases. Okay, for the biomass, dry mass, it decreases at the top of the pyramid. And the pyramid energy, you can see, okay, the energy is decreased. So let's discuss detail more the each of the pyramid. Okay, this is pyramid number. Pyramid number is a diagram which show the number of organisms at every trophic level in a food chain. Okay, look at to the picture. This is the number of producer. Producer is more than primary consumer. Okay, secondary consumer is less than primary consumer. Okay, so the number of organism decrease and the size of organism increase. From the bottom part to the top. The base of pyramid is the largest part, which accommodates the first trophic level, representing the number of producer. Okay, tapak pyramid menunjukkan luas yang the largest part, the bahagian yang terbesar menunjukkan bilangan producer yang banyak. The next tier of the pyramid are the section for the second, third and fourth trophic level, which represent the number of primary consumer, secondary consumer and tertiary consumer. Ascending the pyramid, the number of organisms decrease, whereas the size of organism each level getting bigger. Get the organism here. Okay, the size of organism is bigger. Okay, this is the pyramid of biomass. Okay, biomass refer to the mass here. Okay, the reading of mass. So a diagram will show the total biomass per unit area of all organisms in every trophic level. Okay, example for the plant. Okay, 2.1 times 10 a power of 7 kilogram per kilometer square. Biomass is measured by using dry mass, so the unit is kilogram. The pyramid show the biomass that can be supplied to the organism in the next trophic level. So the number of biomass decreases. For example, the total biomass producer that can be eaten by primary consumer is higher. This is higher than the total biomass of primary consumer in ecosystem. This is the total biomass for the primary consumer. the total biomass of secondary consumer is lower than the primary consumer. So ascending the pyramid, the total number of biomass per unit area decreases. And then this is the pyramid of energy. Pyramid of energy demonstrates the total energy which is present in an ecosystem. So the energy source of the in the ecosystem is light energy from the sun, which is absorbed by the green plant, okay, and carry out photosynthesis and convert into the chemical energy. The energy will be transferred. Okay, get to the picture. The energy will be transferred to the net trophic level when primary consumer feed on a producer. Okay, so in this picture, when the rabbit eat the producer or eat the green plant, the energy will transfer. The energy contained inside the food molecule may be stored in the body tissue and transfer into the environment in the form of excrement, such as feces and discharge of urine. So energy transfer, and it will be stored in the body tissue. Okay, energy tu akan disimpan di dalam body tissue ataupun ada yang release. Okay, transfer into the environment, energy release as a heat. Contohnya dalam proses penyatinjaan ataupun pengeluaran, okay, discharge of urine, pengeluaran air kencing. When food molecule are decomposed for the respiration and other reaction, some energy is released to the surrounding into the environment through heat. Okay, energy is released as a heat. So look at to the how the energy transfer and how energy loss. Or only a small part of energy in the food is converted into the energy stored in the body tissue as a supplement to the organism of biomass. Okay, only 10% of the energy is transferred to the net trophic level. 90% energy is dissipated into the environment through heat, living processes and excretion. Hence, an organism that belong to the lower trophic level have greater energy if compared to the organism at higher trophic level. Okay. For example, okay, this is the total energy given by the producer, 10,000 joules. So only 10% energy transfer to the rabbit. Okay, only 10% of energy transfer to the net trophic level, but 90% energy is lost to the surrounding through in the form of heat, through the living processes such as respiration, excretion, and defecation. 90%. So the primary consumer obtain only 10% of energy, so it will become 1000 joule. 10% will be transferred to the net trophic level, 90% is lost, and the secondary consumer only get 100 joules from the primary consumer. And the last one, only 10% is transferred from the snake. When the eagle eat the snake, 90% is lost, and the tertiary consumer only get 10 joules of energy from the secondary consumer. So this is the interaction among the biotic component. The living thing the living organism will interact each other. It will form the close relationship or interaction. The first interaction is saprophytism, interaction in which an organism gets its food from the dead organic material. The symbiosis is occur when the different species that live together interact each other. So symbiosis, there are three interactions in the symbiosis. First is mutualism. It's an interaction give benefit to both organisms. Commensalism is the interaction that provide benefit to only one organism without causing any harm to the other organism. So in parasitism is interaction that benefit one organism but harm the other organism. The third interaction is predation. Predation is an interaction involving an organism as a predator that eats other organism that act as a prey. And the last one is competition. Competition occur when the organism in a habitat compete in order to get basic needs such as food, water, light and meat. So there are two types of competition: interspecific competition and intraspecific competition. Okay, so this is the example of subtrophism, fungi. Okay, predation is interaction between the predator. So in this picture to show the predator, the owl is a predator and the rat is the prey. Utilism. So this is the picture of example of utilism. Myna, birds on the buffalo. Okay, a myna gets its food from the body of a buffalo, whereas the buffalo is free from the lice. So the interaction is give benefit to the both organism. Okay, myna akan dapat benefit, buffalo pun akan dapat benefit. Commensalism. This is an example of commensalism. The shark does not gain any benefit, but the remora fish gets scrap of the shark food. Okay, dalam interaction ni, remora akan dapat sisa makanan daripada shark, tapi shark tidak akan dapat apa-apa benefit. Parasitism, interaction that benefit one organism but harm to other organism, such as a tapeworm, okay, become a parasite in the intestine of the human being by absorbing nutrient and cause the human lack of nutrient. So interspecific, okay, this is example of interspecific. Competition among different species plant to get sunlight dalam hutan. Okay, and then this is the intraspecific. For example, competition among the animal of the same species to get mates. Okay. Okay. So thank you.